Hey everybody, welcome and thanks for tuning in. This is episode 26 of FoundersGyan, where each week we bring you the inspiring story of a startup and the founder behind it. This week we are featuring Charu Hastir of TheRitePlan.com, that is the RITEPlan.com. The Right Plan aims to make financial planning simpler and is a do-it-yourself financial planning portal. I'm super excited to bring you this show. Do check out www.foundersgyan.com/EP26 for all the show notes and also foundersgyan.com/top for the top listened podcasts on our platform. Now let's get on with the show, shall we? Charu, welcome to the show. A quick brief on Charu. She's the founder of The Right Plan, a do-it-yourself financial planning portal. A CFP by profession, Charu has worked close to 10 years in the personal finance industry and now has started her own venture. I'm super excited to meet you and thanks a lot for taking time out of your busy schedule to share your knowledge, wisdom and time with our listeners. Thank you, Charu, for agreeing to be on the show.
Thanks for having me on your show.
Okay. Charu, can you fill in the blanks from the intro about your journey before The Right Plan?
Yeah, I actually started my career in 2005 and that was in Chandigarh. There I worked with a couple of mutual fund industries, and then in 2010 I moved to Bangalore. And after coming here, I joined ICICI Direct, wherein I started working into financial planning field. I completed my CFP here, and then I got a chance to work with eMudra Consumer Services, wherein I was working on globalizing financial planning product. So, but unfortunately, it couldn't take off. So I worked on a couple of other projects over there. After that, I started to take a call and I quit, and I started my own venture.
Okay, excellent. Now, explain in a few sentences to our listeners what is the Right Plan and how did you come up with the idea for this service?
When I look into the personal finance field, most of us do savings, but what we fail to do is to align those savings towards realistic goals. So, Right Plan actually helps its users to save smartly and to assign the savings towards real life goals like retirement, child education, towards buying a house. It has inbuilt algorithms which help them in knowing if they are saving enough for their goals, and it also helps them to know their net worth, what's the risk appetite, and also what's the expense structure. And how I came up with this idea, while working with my previous company, I realized actually there's a need for it, and not everybody has the time and patience to go to a financial planner. So for the beginners, there's nothing in the market. So for somebody who's new into the saving side, he can actually go to do-it-yourself financial planning portals and get it done in a cheaper and a easier way.
Mm-hmm. So I just want to touch a bit on this. Now, you mentioned that not everybody has the inclination to go towards financial planners, and that is why this service would be of use to them.
Yes.
Now, can you compare us the costs for, let's say, if I have to hire a financial planner versus using your site?
Yeah.
So, can you tell us how much we would save or what the price difference would be?
Look, if you go to an average financial planner for making your financial plan only, they will, an average cost is around 10 to 12,000. And if you go to a high-end financial planner, and your net worth is high, like you have too many insurance policies, you have too many mutual funds, to collaborate that data itself takes a lot of time for financial planner. So, it can go up to 20 to 25,000. And whereas in the portal, in the online portal, you have to enter your data yourself. So, it's around 2 to 3,000, which is much more cheaper in comparison to a financial planner.
Okay, and we kind of get the same output as...
Yes, very, very close. Though, emotional front, you won't be able to, connect the same way. But if you look at from the reporting side of it, yes, you get the same output.
Okay, brilliant. So, and I also like the way that your portal is geared towards investment with goals, because I think that's one of the key factors.
Yes.
And that's one of the key things that a lot of people miss out. And it's kind of like driving without a destination. When do you know you have arrived or not?
Yes,
You just see some nice place and you just stop the car and get out of it. That's what a lot of people are doing with financial planning. They don't know what their aims are.
The challenge is that they're saving, okay, somebody will come to me that there's a very good product, I'll invest. But then I don't know that why I'm investing into this. And I don't know whether it's giving me the required return also or not. Let's say there are no pension as of now. We are not getting any pension, any state pension or central government pension. So, we need to save it the way that it should also beat inflation. So financial planning will help you beat inflation as well.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Now let's talk a bit about idea creation. Now for our budding founders listening out there,
yes,
can you give us some tips on how we can also come up with a good idea like this?
Look, great and successful ideas are nothing but they are generation of our own needs, which arise out of our own ecosystem if we look around. So, we just need to look into things which makes our life better and, easier. So, you should just see here and you should, look into the things which are not making sense, and if you can better those things, you should go for it.
Okay. So, is there a story here or a small incident here that I can sense? You're saying that ideas can come out of needs, but you are of course a financial planner, so obviously you didn't have the need to plan your own finances because you are the expert here. So was it a family member? Was it some friends? Was there some kind of an incident that kind of made you think, why is this not much simpler?
Actually, it's neither family nor friends, but I've met lots of customers while doing financial planning, and the sad part is, it's not a rocket science, but most of us fail to understand how our savings work or how should we actually, think about our savings. So just to make that easier, I started this venture, because otherwise, everybody, you met so many people who say they are financial planners, but then nobody's is delivering the way they should.
Okay, excellent, brilliant. Let's move on from ideation to creation. Now, what are the steps that a person needs to follow in order to make the idea into a reality? Maybe you could explain your own venture. Now, you are a financial planner. You're not internet savvy. I mean, of course you know how to use the internet, but you're not a tech person. So how did you actually build up this portal, come up with all the algorithms, integrate it on your website, etc.?
Yeah. So what we did was, first we made a project plan. I worked on how should we take it online. Then since I'm not a coder, I outsourced the coding part of it, and you have to work on everything by yourself, since while it's still in project, while the project is still in development, there's lots of time on your hands. So you should in fact work on small things. You should look into all the things yourself. You should not depend upon others to do things for you, since it's your product. So you should be wholly solely responsible for it in the beginning.
Okay, excellent. Now let's move on to a bit of a personal question. Now we all hear about founders sacrificing family time to make their ventures a success. Can you tell us a bit more about your own family and how you manage both business and family?
Though we have a large family tree, but here in Bangalore it's only me and my husband and our daughter. It's a little difficult, but it's not impossible. It just needs understanding, and you're able to manage.
If you like this show, do follow us on Facebook and Twitter. The link is www.facebook.com/FoundersGyan and twitter.com/FoundersGyan. Both these provide you daily tips and articles as well as resources to help and inspire your startup. There are multiple tips per day. Some examples of these tips would be articles on the latest startups, growth hacking tips, how do you build team for startups, how to get funding, etc. So don't forget facebook.com/FoundersGyan and twitter.com/FoundersGyan. Now, you don't have any co-founders, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how do you validate your ideas and the path that you're going on? Do you have some mentor Do you talk to some people? What exactly do you do to make yourself to kind of stay on path and kind of understand if you are heading in the right direction or you need to change tracks or change gear?
Actually, I talk to friends. I have, few people in financial planning fraternity, to whom I can discuss my ideas, and then they can, they throw the things back, and this is how, we work. I also discuss it with my husband, and he also gives us fair amount of ideas. And I do have a mentor. Her name is Mimi Parthasati, and she's been into financial planning industry since I think last 15 years. So, we do discuss these things.
Okay, excellent. So, if your advice to would-be founders would be, if they don't have a co-founders, find some groups and mentors through which you can discuss your ideas. Would that?
Yes, that works.
Okay, excellent. Now, is there a morning or a daily ritual that you follow? It could be both work-wise, it could be something personal that helps you and keeps you inspired through the day. Can you share it with myself and our listeners?
Not very specifically, but I do allocate 10 to 15 minutes to myself, wherein I make a note of the things which I have to do for the day. It just gears me up for the day.
Okay, excellent. Can you tell us something about yourself that is not commonly known?
Okay, I love reading comics. So I'm a great Phantom fan, and I still read them.
Okay.
So
who doesn't like Phantom? Right? I'm sure all of us read Phantom.
Yeah.
And Mandrake the Magician.
Yes.
I used to hate. Given a choice between Phantom and Mandrake the Magician, I always liked Mandrake the Magician for some reason. I didn't like Phantom much. So let's move on to the next question. So what's the best advice somebody has given you, or alternatively best advice you have heard?
Think big and think positive. Only if you think positive, the energy is gonna do something for you.
Okay, excellent. And so you're living along the same lines. So what's the big plans for the right plan?
Plans are obviously big only. We are looking into integrating our investment advice with the execution portal. Plus, we are also planning to add in automatic. You can say things like you have companies like Yodlee and Perfuse, wherein you can link in your accounts and they'll be able to automatically update your account information, the kind of expenses you have done and all. So it will be it'll make your financial planning real time. You'll be able to know, okay, this much is my monthly income, this much I am spending, and this is my real time savings. And if I don't save this much, I won't achieve my goal. And if I'm already saving, I'm short by this much. It will be all real time.
Okay, excellent. Now, startups come with a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've also been through that. So can you give us some tips on how we can handle pressure when things aren't going well?
You have to be persistent. They say, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So you just have to be there till the time that things get better. So, my motto is that everything will be all right in the end. If it's not all right, it's not the end.
Okay, excellent. Can you tell us about your worst entrepreneurial moment and how did you turn it around and the lessons you learned from that experience? Needn't be from the right plan, because right plan is just about a month or must be 2 or 3 months old when this podcast comes out.
Yeah.
So could be from your own background, from your past, from your previous jobs. Can you tell us about your worst moment professionally, and the kind of how did you turn it around?
Since, as you know, that I outsourced the coding part of it, and the coders were not in from the same city because of the cost. We outsourced it from a smaller city, and it kind of delayed the project. By 6 months. So one should not delay the project by so much. So one has to be really careful about the timelines.
Okay. So was it strictly to do with outsourcing to a smaller city, or was it a lack of project management? What would you say was the main reason?
Since we outsourced it and that person was already working somewhere, so it delayed the project, and I could not give it to somebody else at that point of time because we were already halfway through.
Okay.
So I had to deal with the guy, and that's how it delayed the project.
Okay. So maybe this may not be really useful to everybody, but I'm sure there are startups there or founders out there looking to cut costs during their development.
Yeah.
So obviously we are in Bangalore and this podcast is being recorded in Bangalore. But when you say it's a smaller city, can you tell us what the city is and where did you find these people from? So that somebody with more experience and more project planning can maybe use similar service or people from tier 2 cities and kind of cut their costs while development.
The city was Jaipur, and it was through a colleague only we got the reference.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, I would also, we are actually looking in for technical partners since, I outsourced the project. We don't have anyone on board now, so I'm looking in for expanding my team. So if there's anybody out there who's listening and who's interested in the right plan, and, if we match the same wavelength, we could, look out at a longer partnership.
Okay, and how do they get in touch with you? Charu at, what's your email?
Yeah, it's charu.hastir@gmail.com.
charu.hastir@gmail.com.
Yes.
Okay, we'll add that on the show notes. So if anybody listening out there is keen on technology, on finance, and would love to be a part of a startup, they can get in touch with Charu. And I also want to talk about being a woman founder. Is it kind of like little harder for you being a woman founder in a mostly male driven society, for want of a better word? And the second part of the question is, would you be able to give any specific advice for women founders? I would really, like to advise the women founders. Being a woman, I know it's really difficult. It's like juggling all the things at the same time. But women are best at multitasking. So, they should prioritize themselves before anything else, and they should just not leave it. I mean, most of the times what happens is that we have other priorities in life and we, leave what is the core part of us. Right. And I would really like to advise them, not to do that. Okay, excellent advice. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Now, we already touched on this a little bit earlier, but can you tell us more about the revenue model for TheRitePlan and the future that you envision for your company?
Revenue model is subscription based. Users come to the portal, they subscribe for the product, which is valid for 1 year, and they can use the portal. And plus we are also planning, since we are planning to integrate it with the execution portal, some of the revenue will come from there also.
Okay, could you talk a bit more about this execution portal and what's the difference from a layman's perspective?
Fine. Let's say you have a goal of retirement planning. You want to know how much you need to save in for your retirement, and the portal TheRitePlan will take into account your current expenses and the expenses you'll have at the time of your retirement. It will calculate. It will tell you, okay, you need this much of money at the time of your retirement, and you need to save, let's say, 15,000 rupees per month for your retirement. So what execution portal will do will enable you to buy some products for investment. So then that portal will again since it's execution, once that the feed will come back to our portal and we'll know, okay, you have started saving, so you'll be able to achieve your goal in these many years. You'll be able to fulfill your goal. So let's say you have not started investing 15,000, only 10,000, then we'll tell you the shortfall.
Okay, so I know that we have talked about this, and there is a gift for FoundersGyan listeners. A coupon code, I believe, which will give them 50% off on the portal. So can you please tell us the code? We will link it up also on the show notes.
The coupon code is TRPGyan, TRPGYAN.
Okay.
So it's especially for FoundersGyan listeners, and I would also be happy to get feedback from the fellow founders on the product and any scope for improvement if there's any.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much for that. We will also link up the code on the show notes. So that's TRP, that stands for The Right Plan,
Yeah.
and Gyan, which is obviously coming from FoundersGyan. Okay.
Yeah.
So are there any books or resources that you can recommend for our budding founders or budding entrepreneurs?
Yeah, one book I would like to recommend is 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. It's not it's not founder's book per se, but if you're at the beginning of your career, this book will help you a lot into analyzing the situations by yourself, and you will find yourself in those situations in corporate world and how to confront them. So this book will help you a lot. And second book which I'm currently reading is 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. It's a book on how entrepreneurs should think to build a product from 0 to 1. It's a good read.
Okay, excellent. And what about from a financial perspective? Is there any books or resources that an average or a layman person could benefit from?
Yeah, the book I would like to recommend to read is 7 Laws of Money Maturity by George Kinder. This book basically tells you about not about financial planning, but how to include your financial goals with your overall happiness. So, I mean, he says that your happiness and your financial goals are linked. So, this is a good book.
Okay, and it's for beginners, right? It's not
yes,
for
yes, it's not. Yeah, it's for beginners. Yes, it's really good read. And
any websites that you would like to recommend?
Yeah, you can go through our blog, TheRitePlan blog.
Okay.
Plus, there are other blogs which are really popular. One is Jago Investor. He writes really good blogs about not exactly financial planning, but about all the financial products. So you can get good knowledge from there.
We just have one more question, but before we get to that, how can our listeners get in touch with you? Are you active on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter? What's the best way to reach out to you?
You can reach to me through LinkedIn. I'm active on LinkedIn. Twitter, though I don't have my own handle, but I have RitePlan handle. You can link to me through that.
At the RitePlan?
At RitePlan.
At RitePlan.
Yep.
Okay, we'll link that up on the show notes.
Yep.
So I just want to take the time to acknowledge and thank you for sharing your knowledge to myself and our listeners. And I'm also very grateful for the value you are adding into the world by means of your startup.
Thank you.
So with that, we'll move on to the final question. Now, if there is one Gyan that you could give our would-be founders, what would that be?
Keep going.
Okay, brilliant, Charu. I really like it. So thank you so much for your time, and it was a real pleasure chatting with you. And wish you continued success in your venture.
Thanks a lot for having me, and you're doing a real good job, with your podcast and the way you're reaching out the founders. It's really nice.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
There you have it, folks. Another great founder and story. I do hope you enjoyed this as much as we did in producing it. Do check out the show notes over at foundersgyan.com/EP26 for links to all that was mentioned on the show. And do share this episode with your friends via the nifty share icons on the show notes page. Or simply email foundersgyan.com/EP26 to your friends. Also, a rating on iTunes and comments are much appreciated. I'll see you all next week with yet another startup and founder. Till then, you know what this show is meant to do. I hope you do got inspired and do take action on your startup today. Thanks for tuning in, and goodbye for now.